predators or something bad, or like rapists and stuff like that, you usually think of men, and that's because they contribute to a lot of this stuff. But there are good men out there, because when you think of like, I don't know, protectors and stuff, you could probably also think of men. I don't know. It's a very big conversation to have, but it's also something we kind of all need to be honest about, with the fact that women do need to protect themselves, because no one is out there to protect us. As much as men like to think we're the protectors of women and children, this and that, they're also the biggest threat to women and children, as seen by like the statistics when it comes to them harming others. So it's understandable as to why women want to do what they can to protect themselves. But I'm not denying, again, not all men, but I'm not also not all menning either.
Yeah, the thing is that, right? For example, entitled example of Lundy Bancroft. I don't deny that he's done really good work, and yet he's still a man and he benefits from the patriarchy. So I don't give a shit.
Yeah, and there's also the thing too that when he does these statistics, he's probably also taken more seriously because it's a man reporting on other men
Yeah,
about
yeah,
domestic violence, and that's why he's probably the best cited source. Had
yeah.
he been a woman, or had he presented these statistics and stuff under like a female presenting name, like, I don't know, Rebecca, it probably wouldn't be taken as seriously and swept under the rug as well. So there's a lot of things that go into this stuff.
And what I also wanted to say about what you said, they've done actual studies where they ask men, like, have you ever sexually assaulted someone? Then they're like, no. Then they're like, okay, well, have you done XYZ behavior that is sexual assault? And they're like, oh yeah, definitely done that. So like, and then again, even if whatever amazing man hasn't done it, he's still a fucking man and he benefits from all of the rest of the fuckers doing that exact behavior.
So, and again, when I make my following statement, I'm gonna piss people off, but the idea of I had this one bad encounter, I had this one experience, that's how racism started. Like, you have one.
Yeah, but we're not saying that. We are coming with statistics and studies. Who's talking about individual experiences? What?
I have a point. I'm getting to it. And I bring that up to say, like, while a lot of people do base their opinions off that one or off that many experiences, it's when you actively hate people, like an entire group of people, based on a handful of their actions. And my second point is, yes, men, like, when you think of serial killers, you think of Jeffrey Dahmer and Theodore Bundy and Charles Manson. You think of men. That much is true. But that's also like saying that every dog you come into contact with is going to bite you. It's just not true. I just think that it's unfair to pin such a bad way of thinking on, like, an entire group of people that A, you don't know, and B, haven't given you any reason to feel that way. Now, yes, what I didn't see your username, the one who's playing Call of Duty. When you said women have to treat all men a certain way at first till he proves otherwise, that I agree with. That is very much true, because you do have to treat these men all the same until they prove, oh, okay, so I'm not gonna come over to your apartment and kill you. Like, that's just a unfortunate safety precaution.
So we understand that like a lot of these things can be taught, and a lot of these things are not ingrained into people, and it is heavily impacted by our environments and stuff like that. That's how you get a lot of prejudices and all this. Um, but as well as like what we're saying is that the reason why we do, like, a lot of women do treat men like we have to be careful around them is because, like you said, you do have to be careful because you never know.
Right.
But in the same breath, that doesn't mean all women treat men like shit. It's that they're just more careful with what they do around men. That doesn't mean that there's a visceral hatred towards them and stuff like that. Kind of like when people say misandry kills men, when in reality, misandry at most probably just makes men uncomfortable and realize things about themselves. Because at the end of the day, women aren't going around killing men for simply being men. They're not aborting their male fetuses as much as like that's a joke amongst like rad fem circles to like abort your male fetuses or whatever. They're not going around aborting their male fetuses. They're not raping young men and boys simply for the fact that they are men and boys or that they're seen as like cattle or anything like that. There's a whole bunch of things that go into it where the hatred of women is different than the hatred of men because when men hate women, they kill them, they rape them, they do this and that. But when women hate men, they want to be left alone. They run away. They make their own spaces and stuff like that.
Yeah, can I just say, like, honestly, Ari, good for you that you can um hold the not all men belief because that means you probably don't live in a horrible fucking country. And to some extent, my view is that the not all men belief is a luxury belief. Like, it's only the privileged white women that live in civilized Western countries that can believe not all men. So, Ari, good for you that you can hold a luxury belief.
I was gonna
Good for
add
you,
to that.
honestly.
I was gonna add
Like,
to that. Um, so women that I know for a fact have to be extremely careful where they go and who they go with. Women who are like, 5 feet and under, they're just like petite women that are like no more than 90 to 115 pounds. They need all the protection in the world because they're targets. They're easier targets. Um, and that's a terrible thing to say, but it's very true. It's a lot easier to snatch up a 90-pound 4'11" girl than it is to snatch up a, I don't know, 5'6" 180 girl, if that makes sense. So there are certain precautions that are built for petite women. And then there are also women who have like, let's I'm gonna assume we all know what autism is, right?
Yeah, we know what autism is.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. There are certain women who have autism who may not have the mental ability to comprehend, like, oh, although this road looks scary, I'm gonna walk down it because it's the quickest way to my house and I'll get there faster. And like I'm already 5 minutes past curfew. See, that could also be a factor in how women handle slash think about things. Those women, again, specifically, they need stun guns, they need mace, they need bear spray, they need something on them. And I understand wanting to be independent as a woman, but even though I am not all men, I still don't think for like women who are Ariana Grande sized should not be alone out on the street at like after midnight or even before after it gets dark, should not be by themselves.
Yes, they fucking should. What the hell are you talking about?
Oh,
They should.
not by themselves because
Yes,
like
they should. The
they're
fact that
targets.
men are heinous prevents them from doing so.
I understand where all of you are coming from. However, I do still believe that while precautions are put in place for specifically women, it's still not exactly the smartest thing to put all men in a box and say, you're why this happened.
Okay, but if these little Ariana Grande sized women can't go outside because some men, then isn't that basically treating it as if it's all men anyway?
To an extent, I just don't believe in that. I just don't believe in if I were to step outside my apartment right now, I'm gonna get shot by a man. I don't believe that. Now
Yeah,
it's
but
more
that's not the
likely.
point. That's not the point. I don't think that you're going to get shot either. But I do think that any boyfriend that you have is probably going to watch pornography and think that's cool. I do think that he's going to think it's okay that you do the majority of the housework, for example. I do think that he probably will expect you to fuck him even if you don't really want to. And he'll think that's fine. He'll think that just because you said, okay, fine, yeah, just get it over with, and just like lay there, and then he does his thing and he'll think that's fine. That's what I think. Like, it doesn't have to be fucking stranger rape yet. Like, stranger rape is not the most common type. uh it's not so much about fuckers out on the street. The point is that men don't see us as fully human. They see us as service creatures who they are entitled to take and take and take from, and it's okay because that's what we're for.
Where I don't agree is um the narrative that just because one male family member did something, now you put that same hate toward any other man that you go to school with, that you come across on the street, that you work with, that you have any type of entanglement with. And I think when it comes to friends, it's just been more recent to me, like understanding that the only type of male friends that a woman could actually have may have to just be gay. Because if you have a bunch of male friends, 9 times out of 10, he's gonna try to fuck you. There's no way
Hey,
around
not
that.
all men though. Am I right? Not all men. Do you see? Do you see it?
I said 9 out of 10.